What's the fastest you've ever gone from caring about someone to straight up loathing them? When he convinced their wife to kick her young kids out because they were finally having a child together. He was very open about hating his stepkids. Fuck his wife for choosing him over her own kids. Hard to tell who is the bigger boss. Was it my wife's family Christmas gift exchange? My wife is estranged from her direct family, so this was all of the uncles, aunties and cousins. There were multiple nieces and nephews running around having a good time. We all agreed to a white elephant exchange for the adults so we didn't have to buy a lot of gifts. We did that the night before and did the gifts for the kids in their morning. Morning rolls around and all the kids are opening gifts. Except my son. None of those entitled asshats got him anything. He sat there and watched everyone else open multiple gifts and it broke my heart to see him sitting there with nothing. Fuck those people right up their stupid assholes. Fuck anyone who would do that to a kid. You have a beef with the adults, fine, grown-ups can handle shit but that kid doesn't need to be involved. It's never ever the kid's fault that some shit is going on in grown-up land. This made my blood boil. I have a 2-for-1 deal here, walking in on my now ex-boyfriend having sex with my ex-best friend in my own room on my birthday party. Edit, since that's a lot of comments to reply to individually, I'm very sorry, here are some FAQs answered. It was my 19th birthday. I did throw the bed out afterwards just because it reminded me of it daily. When I walked in, I was shocked, told him that it's over, kicked both of them out into 2 degrees Celsius weather while they were still half naked, and then did tequila shots with my other, non-asshole friends. I don't know what happened to them but I really don't care. It took some time to trust people again but I'm much better now. It's like they got together beforehand and brainstormed as to how they could make it as insulting as possible. They could have added a level and been fucking on her pillow. You know, for the angle. When my grandfather screamed at my mother that she had ruined his life by being born. Never spoke to him again after that. Damn. And my grandpa told my uncle that he was praying for hardship to enter his life so he could get closer to God. My uncle is probably going to have open heart surgery soon, so you know, awesome dad. When he started being condescending to me in almost every conversation we have, in about almost every topic we talked about, then him complaining to me that some people can't handle him having such strong opinions on topics he's passionate about. Greater than some people can't handle him having such strong opinions on topics he's passionate about. Social context and wording matter more than the actual content of the opinion. And just because you are passionate about something doesn't mean you understand it. I know plenty people passionate about physics, economy and politics that study only the sexy parts but lacks a deeper understanding of the whole. Someone once told me that my issues is that I didn't have a strong opinion on economy and thus they couldn't take me seriously when we were debating the topic. That I always on the other hand this, but then again that. I just shrugged. But in my head I was thinking that I studied economy enough to know that it's way more complicated than it looks like, and I really don't have enough understanding of it to have a strong opinion. As fast as it took for his wife to call me at work to tell me that he was not only married, but had 3 children including a newborn. That is brutal. Sorry, this was when I was still in my teens many decades ago. It broke my heart until he started stalking me. My hurt turned to hate quite quickly. I kinda like you. Your autism is probably caused by vaccines, okay? I kinda liked you 10 seconds ago. Greater than K, I kinda liked you 10 seconds ago. Isn't it amazing how some people don't even realize that they're pieces of shit? Or really stupid? Being stupid and therefore not realizing stuff is kind of natural. Talking to my then GF about her cheating on me. Explaining I couldn't ever possibly trust her again, and she replied, but do you really need to trust me? Clearly had different ideas on what's required for a healthy relationship. Greater than, but do you really need to trust me? Lamau, fuck if that isn't honest communication. Like props to her for being open about her feelings, but what the fuck? The first girl I ever dated died unexpectedly on my then current GF and my 3-year anniversary. My then GF stated she was pissed because my ex had died on purpose that day because it was our anniversary. I was utterly disgusted and it completely changed how I viewed her altogether. Things fell apart shortly after and we broke up. Holy shit, that is so horrible of her. Hope you're doing better now. My father abandoned me and my ill mother. He just ran away. I am a single child, so I had to take care of her on my own. It was hard. I loathed him, hated him. I no longer hate him, just forget about him. Hating someone for too long takes a heavy toll. I am grateful to have had the chance to take care of my mother and help her get well. Damn, this hits hard. I am glad you dealt with it. Grew up good despite being treated evilly. My ex-girlfriend. We were childhood sweethearts. Dated from 17 to 25. Found out she was cheating on me with her boss, who was more than twice our age. Then proceeded to find out there was many more occurrences and she was a very different person than the person I'd been dating. Shattered. I feel so sad reading this. I am truly sorry for you, but happy you found out before like 30. Stay strong. I had this teammate who was such a good athlete, but he was not starting or even playing in any of our games. Naturally, I was sad and curious as to why coach would hold out on playing this guy as he was running routes and I was throwing him the football. He accidentally bumped one of our assistant helpers, as coach would like to call them, instead of apologizing. He shouted, "Watch where you're walking, N. Damn you, blind as fuck." Right then and there I stopped the drill and walked out. It's sad that a kid saying something like that was probably raised by super racist parents and conditioned to think this way. I mean, if we follow that logic, then the parents are just poor victims of racists as well. Fuck that. Fuck racists. I was at a party which was very druggy. About halfway through the night someone dashed into the house and told us that one of the lads at the party had attempted to jump from the roof of one house to another and had fucked it up, and was lying in a heap on the floor. I've never sobered up so fast in my life. It was like being hit with adrenaline. We ran outside and, sure enough, the lad was in a mess, completely out of it. One of the lads who had brought a lot of the drugs to the party got out of there so quick, and was able to pocket a couple of mobile phones and some cash on his way out. Fucking scumbag. Edit for clarity. The lad who stole the phones and ran off was part of our friendship group too. It was a big party, but we all knew each other. Were the dude okay after his failed jump? Very much not. He died in hospital that night. My best friend back in school got a F from the teacher. Me and him asked if we can go to the toilet. I go to the toilet to text a bit with friends from other school. He goes to the parking lot and scratches the teacher's car. School break and the teacher finds his car. We both get called to the director, etc. etc. Friend said that we both scratched the car. He showed the teacher my phone to show him I was texting and couldn't have scratches his car, told friend to fuck off and went out. The benefits of constant texting. First time texting got you out of trouble at school. My ex was severely depressed and drinking at my place one night. I own a lot of knives and guns because Murica. I wanted to make my bedroom as safe as possible, so I was taking everything pointy, shooty, all ligature-like and giving it to my roommate to keep safe, as I would stay with my ex in my room. Bathroom was attached. I handed off stuff to my roommate and heard a commotion in my room, found my ex on the edge of my bed with the gun I kept at bedside. It had been the last thing I needed to get past him and didn't think he knew about. He went from pointing it at himself to pointing it at me. I talked him down from that and told him I wouldn't call the cops if he stayed in the room until sober, and called a therapist in the morning. He physically fought me to try to get out, but was drunk and tired and eventually laid in bed and cried himself to sleep. I slept by the door until morning. I woke up covered in bruises to a nightmare about him shooting me. I recognized he was sick, but also he was capable and willing to kill me. I never saw him the same way again. We no longer speak. There had been a lot of red flags before this point, but I was far too blind and far too lonely to recognize them. Greater than there had been a lot of red flags before this point, but I was far too blind and far too lonely to recognize them. If any of my current friends pointed their guns at me, I'd take it as a joke until I got shot most likely. I don't believe any of them would shoot me no matter what I did to them, but damn that sounds scary, and it sucks to lose a friend to mental illness. I felt this one. Pointing a gun at someone is never a joke and should never be taken as one. Heh, I get the feeling there could be many stories about me. I had a terrible personality until my early 20s. Sorry everyone. The great thing about people is they are self-aware and can change. Good for you. Not all of them are though. Some never learn and stay asshats. When I was younger I found out one of my childhood friends was stealing from me and the friendship group. Every so often we would lose a phone or iPod, then said friend would have conveniently got the same model but beat it up a bit with his initials in type X or something stupid. Being a good friend we didn't want to believe it, but we started putting distinct markings on our items. Lo and behold, my phone goes missing and he turns up with the same one a few weeks later with the markings. We brought him up on it but he just lost his temper and stormed off. 15 years later he's in prison for armed robbery. We had a friend in our circle who did this with jewelry. She would take cheap things. For example, in the 80s everyone had these stud earrings in the shape of strawberries or ladybugs. Anyway, when you're 10 and someone steals your strawberry earrings, everyone just thinks you lost them. Including you. Fast forward a few years and all of the moms start missing things. Class ring and other things that were sitting in jewelry boxes for a long time. Our friend is caught by one of the moms wearing her grandmother's antique engagement ring. Thief's mom is called and her stash is fully discovered. She had stolen so much that it's hard to describe it all. I saw a huge pile of junk/kids jewelry, interlaced with actual nice mom jewelry. Most everything I had lost over the years was there. It was shocking and heartbreaking. I'm not sure if charges were filed, but she was sent to some reform school. 25-ish years later she pops up on Facebook. She's into MLM. An MLM is a multi-level marketing scheme, like Amway, which is essentially a scam for bored housewives. Not surprised at the MLM for some reason. When he became angry with me about something trivial, agreed to disagree instead of conceding to him, and then he proceeded to tell me he should beat the shit out of me because of it. Yeah, no. Done. WTF, threatening physical violence is a way to end any relationship tbh. My childhood friend, he lived pretty close to me and seemed like a nice dude until he stole my golden eye and moved to Minnesota. Fuck you, Derek. Yeah, fuck you, Derek. Co-worker had a dog who she let run free on her property. Said dog liked to chase cars. So it was only a matter of time, and the dog was hit. Dog couldn't walk for 2 days, was dragging herself around for days after that. We told her to bring her to the vet, and she refused, because it was too expensive. We pulled together the money and told her, bring your damn dog to the vet. And she did. The dog's bones in her legs and pelvis were shattered and the dog had no chance of recovering. Co-worker finally let the poor thing die peacefully. So anyhow, it was $50 to put this dog to sleep. And since then, every time my co-worker spends money on something frivolous and shows us novelty socks, collectibles, an expensive cake, another fucking pet, I think about how she decided bringing comfort to a dying animal wasn't worth paying for. I don't know if I would ever stop hating that person. Hurting animals is non-comprehensive for me. I don't get it. Especially if it's your own dog. A former friend bailed on me when we were supposed to hang out, and so I called my then girlfriend to see what she was doing, and I could hear him talking to her parents in the background. Having your friend bang your girlfriend and her parents? That's rough. How do you know they like it rough? Are you cheating or not too? When he straight up denied my existence in front of his friends. I had a lunch shift in high school where I knew absolutely no one but my brother. He absolutely denied all knowledge of who I was, even after the people he was with knew I was his brother. It was super fucking awkward. Eventually I made friends with some classmates and sat with them. Out of all people? Dude, your brother is a dick. There's an older woman at work who seemed pretty okay. Then I overheard her talking about her toddler granddaughter, saying that she's a little hooker and shakes her booty at any man and that sexualizing of a kid creeped me right out. Edit, spelling. Do you mean sexualizing? I sure do. Crap. Found out this girl I was getting close to had been lying about her ex being a deadbeat dad, and well, her ex. He wasn't just still in the picture, they lived together. I should have guessed after the third or fourth time she made an excuse to not go to her place. Never ended something so quick. Did we date the same woman? Friend at a bar tells some people we just met how her mother died. Later in the night I express my sympathy, now she's without parents. She told me hush hush a few years prior about how father had passed. Wait, did I tell you back then my dad died? I thought I told you it was my mum. No, both my parents are still alive. When we were in uni I just read in a book telling people a parent has died is a good way to get sympathy, ha ha. Fucking sociopath. What an utter poss. Reminds me of a guy from my school who was in my acting class and he used to pretend to break down and cry, then when asked what was wrong would say my mom/dad died, and after gathering a fair crowd he'd laugh it off and say it was a joke. Yeah man, hilarious. He did this multiple times with multiple groups of people. Reminds me of the emotional vampire from What We Do in the Shadows. I loved, still love, playing Pokemon, and I had no female friends with the same interest. Found out about this group of guys that played it after school. Got really excited and made plans with them. I waited for hours and they never showed up. Next day I overhear my best childhood friend laughing about how annoying I was and that they had to hide from me to play in peace. That really hurt. There was a girl, who was the photographer at my wedding. We had been friends for a bit, being the only female motorcycle riders in our group. I started to get the feeling that she and a few other friends were talking shit on me and my husband. Just weird vibes, FB comments that all seemed to be referencing me. I had just moved to a new state away from these friends, and so all of that was very overwhelming. I blocked the friends and went on with my life. A few months later, I made a post on a female group and she commented on it. She said she could see I had deleted her but she hoped I was well. I decided to message her and just say sorry, I guess. Well, come to find out she was talking shit on me. A lot. And she didn't care because she thought I deserved it, and it was my fault they talked shit on me for being so weird. And it was my fault I left it affect our friendship. Fuck that. Haven't spoken to her since, even when we go back for events with our crew. People who talk shit on other people suck ass. Some people just love drama, props for moving on. My husband adopted my son when he was 3 after being in his life since he was 1. Gave him his last name, the whole 9 yards. When we had a child of our own, who was a girl, and decided we were done having kids, his mother said to me it's a shame we aren't having more kids, as she would have liked someone to carry on the family name. I have only tolerated her at holidays ever since. Wow. I remember as a kid seeing my name in light pencil on a very stylized family tree. My aunt was written in ink calligraphy and my mother was totally missing. My mother was adopted before my aunt was born. East Coast WASP family. Similar encounter. Family funeral, and they had this big board of all the people that the family had lost. And my dad wasn't on the list. That pissed me off to no end. 1 year friendship with this girl. I invited her over to my new apartment. She came over and wanted to gossip about her coworkers. When she paused, I tried to add into the conversation, make a joke, give reassurance, add a comment, etc., but she would immediately raise her voice and start talking over me. I kept getting angrier every time it happened until I was actually loathing her internally. She was so self-absorbed that she didn't notice I went from smiling and engaged to frowning while staring off into space. After 2+ hours of not being allowed to talk, I made up an excuse to kick her out of the apartment and then vowed to never see her again. Sounds like one of my current friends. Only has time to talk about herself, doesn't care for my opinions unless it somehow contains her. Only asks about my life after she's run out of things to complain about. I know someone like that. Only seems to want to talk about herself, show off her pictures, her achievements. If you try to share in return, she becomes disinterested and plays on her phone while you're talking to her. It hurts me in particular, because I'm someone who will drop everything to focus on someone who is sharing with me. One summer back in high school years, I had a crush on this girl and we'd hang out when we weren't working together. A friend of mine would keep insisting that I should just ask her out. So I mustered my courage and asked her out. Yeah, it was a glorious fail. I still remember when she smiled and told me the truth. That was when I found out that they had been secretly dating for a year and thought it would be a lark to just fuck with me. 100-0 in a few words and a vicious smile. Like that, except friend kept insisting that I lose my virginity to my boyfriend, who she was secretly fucking the entire time we dated, and they thought it would be funny if he took my V card. I'd really like an AskReddit post where these kind of people explain what the hell is going through their thick skulls and how in the world they think this is funny. Edit. Found one here, deleted because of brigading. Edit 2, guys, please be civil. There are some people threatening the commenters, that's not okay. 2 minutes, he pranked me by making me think he was gonna kill himself, then he got a friend to text me that he did and that I was my fault for not responding sooner. When I was having a full-on panic attack and almost killing myself out of guilt, he told me it was a prank and the two friends asked me if I wanted to have a threesome. I have depression, suicidal thoughts, and yes, he knew that. This was something extra.